These are the 6 men who've made it through to the final of the men's single sculls, including the Olympic champion in lane number 3. Good first stroke in there by Andrei Sinek, very quick.
Very quick off, but I'm very impressed with the way that Cuba has broken into the top rank like this. It's a great performance for them. But Sinek is the guy who's taken over from the great Chalupa, who's moved into the quad, and Sinek has really made a mark for himself in the World Cup races earlier in the season. But the one I look for, I think, is Drysdale from New Zealand. He's been sculling very well, looked very confident earlier on, and he seems just here to be edging it out. And it's interesting because he's moved from rowing. He was in the 4 for New Zealand last year, and he's moved out of rowing into sculling, and that's been done before by Jamie Coburn, who became world champion from moving from the 8 into sculling. It's been done by Derek Porter, who moved out of the Canadian 8 into sculling and won a gold medal first time out. Greg Searle also moved into sculling for that. It's quite hard to make that change, but there's something about the quick movement of the rowing boats that translates well into sculling. And well, look, here's Drysdale out in front, moving very well indeed.
And interesting, the 2 men who perhaps made most of the headlines in the Bering World Cup season, Mahe Drysdale, who was twice a runner-up, and Sinek, who's just one beyond him there, who won the regatta at Eton and then again at Lucerne. And those 2 at the moment are leading the field. And right on the far side, and unusual to see Marcel Hacker only qualifying to go into an outside lane in lane 1.
Hacker's had a disappointing regatta here, and somehow his star really has waned a bit. He's such a powerful athlete, and he loved being in the middle of the pack and dominating with his very, very powerful style. But he's just struggling. He's just not really looking like the old Marcel Hacker.
Tufter always takes a first quarter to find his rhythm and establish himself, and it's in the middle 1,000 that he usually does most damage. And you can just see the bow. That's 3 from the bottom of the picture at the moment. That's Olaf Tufter, the Olympic champion, now 29 years of age, who's actually now taken over the family farm, who would want to win this. He was world champion, of course, in 2003, and before that in 2001. So like Ekaterina Karsten a few moments ago, looking for his 3rd title.
Well, he came out of the double scull. He was silver medalist in the double sculls in Sydney. He's a great sculler, great finisher particularly, and somehow that's something about the Norwegians, but they do finish very, very well in the last 500 meters. But he does give himself a lot of work to do by taking off slowly. This man is the one really to watch, I think, and Drysdale on the near side.
And also because of his years, Andrei Sinek, only 22 years of age, so he can look at Beijing with some optimism, and he could even be looking at London in 2012.
He's got a big future, Sinek, and a big future as a single sculler, because the only man who could challenge him in the Czech Republic is Chalupa, and Chalupa is now really on his last Olympiad, if he manages to get all the way to Beijing.
Yeah, but he's the fantastic inspiration for the Czech scullers. But now you can see Tufter beginning to put himself back into contention, and also just beyond him there you can see Tim Mayens, who's doing considerably better than Marcel Hacker. Marcel Hacker in lane number 1 and the Cuban in lane 6 at the moment, both struggling.
But look at the way that the Olympic champion sculls, Tufter. He just sits low there, drives his legs, then uncurls his body at the finish of the stroke. He's just a fantastically efficient and effective sculler. He pushes on through the middle of the race, and there he is now in bronze medal position, pushing hard now on the leading 2 scullers.
And at the moment, it is Drysdale nearest to you, with Sinek just above him, and then Tufter, and it's those 3 at the moment. Mayens not completely out of it for Belgium, and doing pretty well again. He's one of the younger men, only 24 years of age, got into the Olympic Games, and I think that was a good motivation, because although he finished 6th, it really whetted his appetite to go on with the sport.
We're looking here there, Drysdale driving his legs. He does drive his legs, his seat gets to the finish before he really starts to use his back and unfold his back. But has he got the intelligence of a single sculler in the last 750 meters there to hold off the challenge from these more experienced scullers? That's the big challenge. You can see there he pushes his legs and then finishes off with his body in the second part of the stroke. But look, if he's held Sinek, he's held that. Sinek did a big push there, and he's held him off, and he's, if anything, he's beginning to move away again. He's winding it up, and he's pushed that rating up. He's doing a good old push there with about 550 meters to go.
And of course, what he's trying to do is to win the world title back for New Zealand, the title that was won in 1998 and 1999 by Rob Waddell, who then of course went on to Olympic honours in Sydney before switching to America's Cup. I must say, Mahé Drysdale, this is a really polished performance here. Plenty of power, plenty of desire, and he's almost a length up. And look at the people that he's leading.
Just in those last 30 strokes, 25 strokes, he took about half a length from Sinek. He moved from half a length, overlapping, where Sinek really felt that he had something he could really push on, because he was Sinek was two strokes a minute higher, but Drysdale just turned it on and moved on by a good half to three-quarters of a length, looking very strong.
1:49.04 for that third quarter there by Drysdale, compared to 1:50.49 for Tufte and 1:50.9 for Sinek. So that the clock tells the story as well, but the pictures are even more impressive, because now Drysdale absolutely striking for home now and leaving the other two to scrap it out for silver and bronze, as Tufte, the Olympic champion, and also, one has to say, the defending world champion now, is trying to get silver, because gold looks beyond him.
Yeah, this picture is quite hard to see here, but we've got a picture there. It looks as if Tufte's far further back than he is, in fact. But there's no doubt there about Drysdale and how he's moved on. Sinek has responded to the challenge from Tufte, but don't count Tufte out, because that, as I say, that last 500 meters, he's astonishing.
Drysdale, though, all he's got to do is keep the other two in the corner of his right eye, and at the moment they're not making any impression on him. Quite often, Dan, what happens is, if the two men in second and third are having a real ding-dong battle, the two draw on to the leader, but that's not happening.
You know, he's not a great, you see the boat is not very balanced. He's definitely a rower gone into a sculling boat, but he certainly is. They're beginning to close up on him, and look at Tufte go. He's just upped the rate. He's rounded up to 40, and he's closing back on Drysdale. He's going right through Sinek, but what a fantastic finish.
It is a fantastic finish, because the gold medal goes to New Zealand. Mahé Drysdale, in his first season as a single sculler, takes the gold medal and takes the title back to New Zealand. Tufte, a really spirited finish in 1:48.10, but only good enough for silver, with Ondřej Sinek in the bronze medal position for the Czech Republic. Big disappointment. Marcel Hacker only 6th and 19 seconds off the pace, which tells you that the heart went out of his challenge. For Mahé Drysdale, a fantastic gold medal presented to him by Denny Oswald, president of FISA.